So where do we start? This is really exciting, actually. I'm here today to bring to you a piece of a report. We recently sponsored a company called the Learning Experience Alliances. They are an independent education business, so it's totally vendor agnostic. Can you hear me? Okay. Can I have the clicker, please? Right. It's a report we sponsored, they researched amongst C-level executives. So slightly different take from what Laura just shared. It is a research carried out in Europe, predominantly in the UK, amongst CXOs in commercial roles, so growth officers, revenue officers, sales officers, and marketing officers from large organizations, more than 1,000 employees, with an established sales enablement function. So the last point is quite important. I want to give credit to Carlos Dolti. He is a CEO at LXA. He can't be here today because he just had a baby girl. Yes, and he is a sales enablement course instructor, and within his capacity as a CEO, of course, he works directly with his sales operations team and coaching his teams. My name is Winnie Palmer. I am the EMEA head of marketing at Seismic, so I'm one of the marketers. I come to sales enablement because for 20 years working at global, regional, local marketing capacities, leading teams, I've always struggled with the issues around sales and marketing alignment that Laura talked about. But more importantly is how I, as a leader, help my business to address the issue. Right? How do we realize that strategy into operational reality? And sales enablement for me is the solution. A little bit about Seismic. Many of you are friends, you know us already. We partner with more than 2,200 organizations globally across industries and company sizes. We are rated as a category leader in the sales enablement space across content, training, and coaching. We help organizations to engage with their clients in a more personalized, meaningful way, enable the teams, and helping them to have the right skills and knowledge to compete, to win. We also have what we call the Seismic Enablement Cloud, which is one truly unified end-to-end platform that equips your customers facing teams with all the necessary bits and pieces, not just content, but learning and training, just in time, interactive proposals, all that kind of good stuff. We learn a lot from our customers. So for me to stand here to speak to you, my confidence comes from me speaking with my customers. I've been with the company for about 3 years. I talk a lot with our clients to find their cases, how they use sales enablement as a strategy to help drive their business transformation and all their revenue goals. The case studies that we learn from our clients give us this confidence on how to, if you like, develop and implement sales enablement excellence. I want to just take a step back on how we define sales enablement. Imogen and Laura and I actually talked about this before summer. It has different meanings depending on who you speak to. The analysts have their own definition. And I just wanted to share how we look at this space. Seismic sees sales enablement as the strategic approach that helps unite all the stakeholders across sales, marketing, and operations to unite behind this common goal of providing your salespeople with the necessary processes, content, resources, and technologies to enable them to engage with their buyers in a more personalized, meaningful way so they can sell more effectively. Now, this is a strategic talking point when we go into executives. My team also sits on the executive board, if you like, in collaboration with ops team. Whenever we talk about sales enablement, whenever we look at ways to further enhance our own sellers' ability to go to market, this is the goal, if you like, the vision we always land back to, so as to ensure the conversation with the executives always stay at the strategy level. Because if we go into tactics, then you get into the conversation about prioritization. Right? Staying strategic enable us to have a seat at the table, to say sales enablement is actually business critical. And it is a big business. We see that. This is from the survey. The 200 more CXOs in this region we surveyed agree. 68% of them agree. Sales enablement strategy is key to driving their business performance. And I see that, we watch how you watch the earning calls. It's a tricky market out there, right? But investors and businesses alike are starting to point at that sales enablement is the business strategic imperative in helping organizations to better navigate through this troubled condition today. Because it does bring upon effectiveness. It brings upon productivities and efficiency, the fundamental drivers for revenue growth, for business sustainability. If you need more data points on the investment going into the space, this is a version created by LXA for the UK market. Overall, the sales tech landscape is growing. The similar sort of trend you must have seen from Scott Brinker for the global landscape follows the similar trend. You'll notice probably that we are bundling sales tech and MarTech together because these two are really intrinsically connected, right? So CRM system or sales enablement, is it MarTech or is it sales tech? Now, if you follow this line of thought, this is a big number we can share with our executives. LXA modeled based on the global spend, the MarTech and sales tech market size is about $500 billion. It's not immaterial. So with this, of course, the next question will be, are these investments that we are making is actually driving any differences? And how do we make sure that they perform? So this report becomes quite interesting because it brings up what these CXOs think that as the fundamentals and pillars for sales enablement excellence. So I want to share this with you. The report is not yet published. It's imminently coming, hitting the market in December. I just proofread the last version with LXA. They're going to publish it very soon. So I'm really happy to have the privilege, actually, to share this with you today. First of all, this is not a surprise at all. Laura talked about this for half an hour. It's really, really critical. We wanted to dig deeper a little bit on who owns sales enablement in organizations with a sales enablement function. And unsurprisingly, about 35% ownership sits with the chief sales officer. What is interesting in this chart is that 25% to me, 25% of the ownership sits with CROs and or CSOs. It's sort of like pointing to potentially the growing trend of aligning the fully alignment of sales and marketing into a common department and or common leader. That's quite interesting. This one was a surprise to me. 80% of the participants reported that their organizations are either fully aligned and or somewhat aligned between sales and marketing. If organizations are functioning so well, then they are functioning pretty progressively. But this also gives me a different thought. Remember, these are organizations with an established sales and marketing function. I want to dig into the data a little bit deeper. I haven't got there yet, but I wonder, my hypothesis is their organization aligning so well is because they have a sales enablement function. Because we know the rest of the business isn't, right? The rest of the industry is still talking about sales and marketing alignment as a big problem. However, with these companies with sales enablement functions, they're doing pretty well. Something to look into. I will see if I can find more data and share with you to validate that hypothesis. It will be pretty powerful, I think. But that's alignment. If you look at collaboration, it's slightly more nuanced. Majority of the sales enablement function is managed by sales only. Sales and marketing alignment and collaboration is not a new topic. Laura talked about it quite a lot, so I won't go into the details, but I want to share my personal experience. As a marketer, in the past, my struggle is when I chuck that lead over the fence to sales, I lose visibility. I have absolutely no idea what content's being used, what story's being told, whether my messaging is actually resonating with the end user. That's marketer's pain. And then you think about the sellers, of course, spend hours looking for content and making up their own. It's just really, really inefficient. What has changed, this is where my opinion probably differs from Laura, is that there's now this technology that comes in and help solve this issue. Because the technology provides that fundamental base layer operational capabilities at the content level, data level, and workflow level to help businesses to manage this big business workflow in a structured manner across teams, geographies, languages, devices, to be able to carry your message consistently and provide that visibility back to your business. You need technology. The second pillar, so beyond the alignment, the second pillar coming out from the report is we need to focus on building sales capabilities, and here specifically is capabilities in sales enablement, sales operations, and skill sets in sales technologies. And this, for me, is a real problem. You can't see the number for some reason. It's 78%. 78% of the organizations strongly agree that there is a skill gap. We wanted to start with unpacking the availability of skilled talents in the market. The reality is there is a big shortage in sales tech, sales enablement, and sales operations. If you are managers in this room, you probably feel that already. Recruitment is a big problem. There's just not enough people out there, which is probably good news for some of the practitioners here. But the matter of fact is that we thought about this. The only way for organizations to correct this skill gap is by reskilling and upskilling your existing workforce. Training is the answer. If you are thinking about recruiting your way to sales enablement excellence, you're going to struggle. Here's another data point to support that argument. The biggest barriers to driving organizations' sales enablement, operations, and technology maturity is lacking staff, lacking resource, lack of sales to adoptions. You can read down, the list goes on and on, but they are all intrinsically connected. The more greater talents you have, the more knowledge, the more they are able to help you and your organizations to drive to adoption, isn't it? So again, training is the answer, I think. This one is a summary of how we see this all coming together. What's the outcome of all these great discussions? It's ultimately is about effectiveness and efficiency. You want to be able to enable your teams to engage with the buyers in a more personalized manner that is tailored, that's relevant. They can augment the data they get from the tool with their personal knowledge, just in time, ideally across all the channels, digital, face-to-face, 24/7. You want to do more of what's proven effective. And to be able to do that at the program level, you need data, right? So you want to be able to see what works, what doesn't work. And the effectiveness, and Laura talked about this, I can share with you some case studies. If you are in financial services, for example, you'll know the QBRs, fact sheets, report backs, customer follow-up, all those are very heavy data-driven content. And one of our clients in asset management, she used to manage 7,000 pieces of content. 7,000. Because the regulatory compliance and all that sort of good stuff, asset types, languages, it's very complicated. In the content process from the beginning of the market shift, remember the mini budget, right? The market suddenly have like a big shock. Everything has to change immediately. The content process without technology takes too long. In the past, it's 10 weeks. I'm a marketer, I can tell you it takes 10 weeks from the commentary being provided, created, to it becomes a piece of content that can be utilized by your front end, that used to take 10 weeks. Now it's too slow, you can't compete, right? So that sort of thing, it becomes quite a critical, clear business challenge. And with the sales enablement technology, Zoe is able to bring down the number of assets that, or content that she needs to maintain from 7,000 to, I think today, 1,000. And imagine the massive amount of cost saving and the speed to market we talked about, and the compliance, you know. And another case study I can share with you is a client we have in travel. Very extensive global partner networks. They manage, hotels, flights, trains, and tour guides and all that, what have you. Very, very complex. So their QBR deck used to be 650 slides long. You imagine, it's just unbelievable. And with technology and the strategy behind it, of course, you need to have all the architecture and thinking around it. He's able to bring it down to 150 with plans to reduce more. Because with sales enablement, he can see, which part is actually being used, which part is redundant, which part, more importantly, is driving the conversation, which part is a little bit useless, right? So there's a lot of efficiency and optimization can be built in. And it's really, really cool. And with that data and the intelligence at the program level, it enables the managers and the executives to be a lot more accurate in where they allocate their resources. Okay, again, keeping the sales enablement at a strategy level is very, very powerful. One other example I can share with you, manufacturing. So this is a quite interesting one. Manufacturers, if you think about it today, they talk a lot about Industry 4.0 before, right? The digital transformation, and then within which the workforce transformation. How do you upscale, rescale your existing tenured staff who are arguably the biggest asset to your company? They know a lot about the product industry customers, but they're just not that quite savvy digitally. So how do you enable them to work in a different way? And customer has changed. Customer care a lot more about purpose of your company than your product, right? So, but that's, right, let's take sustainability, for example. Sustainability is not something your sellers would naturally know a lot about. But for that 5% they need to know that very, very well, right? And you want to be able to ensure that accuracy, consistency across your entire supply chain, from your direct sellers to resellers, wholesalers, distributors, showrooms, all the way to your end customer. How do you do that? You also want to be able to do that, like we said before, across all the teams, fragmentation of your organization throughout your entire ecosystem. How do you do that without technology? You need technology, right? So that's just one little sort of like learning I'm seeing from our client base, how they're utilizing sales enablement to drive business transformation, to help drive their revenue strategies, to help drive their cost-saving agenda, because CFOs are looking at it. There are ways to lift sales enablement to the level of being the business critical strategy that cannot be overlooked. And then, of course, the conversation will be, would you like to invest? And what do you want to invest, dear CFO? The thing is, we wanted to unpack this a little bit more and ask the C-suite, what does their tech stack look like? And this is the 10 most common tools a CSO will have in her toolkit. And you'll notice sales enablement is not there. Our analysis and take is that actually, it's probably because sales enablement touches on a lot of these, the functions and features, and the output and impact across all these tools. And there's an argument. And think about it, multiple tools. And the biggest problem with multiple tools, a multitude of tools, is fragmentation of data, fragmentation of tech, and not to mention the the number of adoptions that you need to drive for multiple tools from varied users. It's very, very complicated. And this is where I think sales enablement can bring a true value because it helps streamlines, integrates the workflow end to end. And a lot of the times we're seeing our clients are using sales enablement tools as a trigger to help improve their CRM tool adoption, for example. Okay. And this is our view of the ideal scenario. It does exist actually today. It's truly like sort of like end-to-end unified data flow across all the tasks your salespeople will need to perform and or both from input and output standpoint. So you want content management, you want content automation, you want personalization. So you can drive deeper, more meaningful client engagement, right? And all the analytics and insights around it. And you probably want to think about how you embed training and coaching alongside content. Now this one's interesting because it brings just more accurate information. One of our clients used this particular point very well. They look at the data of content usage and thought, maybe that content wasn't working. But when they look at the content data alongside training and coaching data, they found that actually that piece of content was working perfectly well for those who are certified. So the strategy become more accurate because the solution is no longer asking marketing to chuck away that piece of content. The solution is to train the rest of the team. Right? So with data, more comprehensive data, you'll be able to diagnose more accurately what the true root causes may be to help you optimize your team's performance more accurately. Okay. How about centralizing all the communications in one single place? Text message, emails, digital sales rooms, social. This helps to drive deeper insight into, I would think is more than the sum of the all because it unlocks more, like I was saying before, the intelligence, the information, show you the bigger picture. All the communication digitally generate data that creates information that can be utilized and you can use it to inform your own decision making. But the point here, I totally support what Laura said before, is simplicity. You don't need to start from like everything. You can start anywhere. A lot of our clients, they start from very simple things. Content management, they do a simple content audit, and that's how they start. But the point I want to make here is that you need to have a strategy, right? Where you go. If this is the best practice, that's where you want to go, and it doesn't matter where you start. The point becomes, the work becomes, let's map it out, right? What are our milestones? What are our business context limitations? What can we do today? What value can we deliver today? What can we show as the immediate outcome, as Laura's mentioned before? But at the back of our mind, we always have our plan. We know where we're going, right? As leaders, innovators, we take that responsibility and we help the organization to transform for the better. So that's really that. And I think the other thing on this slide I want to mention is experience. Ultimately, it's about helping sellers to be more effective, giving them more time. So you don't want to buy point solutions here and there and then couple them together, and eventually you just create more complexity, isn't it? And imagine if it's a frictionless experience. Sales enablement comes to the tools sellers use. What do they use? CRM systems, PowerPoint. How about you recommend the content, case studies, just-in-time training, interactive proposal, what have you, directly in the CRM system, in PowerPoint. They don't need to come out. They're just there. It's completely frictionless, like Amazon. It's very elegant and very beautiful. So, that's the sort of thing we can sort of aspire to deliver. It does exist today, but you don't have to have everything like all whistles and bells and all that. We start from somewhere to demonstrate value and build towards where we need to get to. So that's it, really. A recap is a big business. If you need more cases, the report, I promise, is going to be published in December. And it's a UK, Germany, France, and adjacent markets research, so specific for our market. There's a need for building a culture of collaboration and alignment. And sales capability, I really think training and coaching is a big challenge. It's not just sales enablement, it's across all the functions. People know there's a war on talent, or I should say skill gap out there. So organization perhaps can think a little bit more around how they deploy a structured program to help the team to learn. And they don't have to, gone the days you send a bunch of people to exotic hotels and have a great time for a week, and then they come back and remember nothing but the drinks, or maybe not even the drinks. They are just-in-time training and coaching these days available. I come here today as a marketer, talking to you about sales enablement, because I use my own tool. I learn, right? Just-in-time training. Everyone here can be a master of any topic. Imagine that. With a tool, right? It's just going and learn it, and then it's just deliver. Of course, you need to learn it, but still, the tool enables us to be a lot more nimble and responsive at scale. And that is really powerful. And finally, I do think sales tech platform, if we can think about how we invest in the investment strategy towards an all-encompassing platform that helps organizations to centralize, streamline, integrate, optimize your sales cycles and workflow. It's actually quite a straightforward sort of roadmap and conversation I can have with the executives. It's just a roadmap and time thing, isn't it? And I know it's not as simple as that, because I, as a marketer, I often have to go back in and request for proposal, a business case. But that's the thing. Without that bigger vision, we're always going to be competing with other priorities. So that if I can just emphasize one point, is how we tell the story. If the story is about productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, with all the major business impacts that Laura talked about, win rates, faster velocities, deal sizes, those data are available if you have that piece of kit. And then that helps you to build that business case in a more robust way. Okay, so that's me. This is what the report is going to look like. LXA is going to publish it. I don't have it. They're going to publish it. We will get it a month later. But yeah, do come and connect with me if you want to learn more. We have a booth out there, all the way to the left, I think. Yeah, we've got a couple of people there. They know a lot more about sales enablement than I do. But thank you very much for listening to me.